You're listening to Truly Unruly with Marcus and Jessica Trufant. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another installment of Truly Unruly with Marcus and Jessica Trufant. My name is Kel. Trufant, what's up? How you guys feeling?
Pretty good.
Doing well, brother. Doing well.
Just being a dad out here.
You're corny. You're super corny.
I had to.
If you guys don't know what that means, is that there was a dude that took a shot at Jess in the comments on Instagram on one of our posts, pretty much saying, oh, now she knows how to father like a dad. And Jess had to clap back. So
why?
There
why
it is.
It not? I mean,
didn't make sense.
You don't have to be a father to know.
We stay in the comments. We stay in the comments. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Keep it coming.
All right, you guys ready for today's question?
Let's do it.
All right.
I am. I'm ready. I'm locked in.
So this is a question from a mom about her kids being a little too privileged. Here we go.
Oh, well.
I grew up very poor and neglected. My children are growing up affluent and very loved. Like, I lived in a rundown motel room with my 3 siblings type of poor. We went without food or we had to steal it. My parents struggled with substance abuse and my mom abandoned us. I've worked hard to break that cycle, and I'm proud to say that I did successfully break the cycle. While I am proud of all my professional accomplishments, my greatest accomplishment in my life have been my children. They are my universe. However, as they are getting older, I'm realizing how different their upbringing is to mine and my husband, who also had a challenging childhood. We are a 2-parent, happily married household. We give our children a lot of love and attention. We live in an affluent neighborhood, and they never been without anything. While I am grateful that we are able to provide an amazing lifestyle for our family, I'm worried that they just don't understand the struggle. Our oldest is still young, but his comments about wanting all the toys and just having no understanding of what it's like to go without or to struggle really concerns me. I don't want them to grow up to be ungrateful, privileged assholes. Do you have any advice?
It's all fair. That's a genuine fear that your kids are going to grow up and be entitled assholes, right?
Right. And I think that stems from the way she grew up, right? That is the only...
she's on the other extreme, though. So.
Right. She's on the other extreme. So I understand wanting her kids to be humble and all of those things. But, you know, our kids are in a position where, you know, they are privileged. But again, I think it has everything to do with their upbringing. You can be privileged. You can get all the toys you want. You know what that reminds me of? Something is like, I don't know if this even correlates, but it was like when I was kind of ashamed to tell people and uncomfortable to tell people about the stuff I had. Like it's not even about telling people. It was just even, I can't remember what was it. And I was just really uncomfortable. And Marcus was like, how about we just don't have it at all? And would you like that? Just be proud of what you have. But yeah, there's a fine line because I really understand what she's saying because we don't want our kids to be spoiled brats. But I think it's more of a mindset than the material things that you have, right?
Right.
I think some of our kids might feel more entitled than others, but that has nothing to do with how we have raised them. It's just who they are.
Right. I think overall, as parents, we all strive to do better for our kids than the situations we were in, right? And we learn from our parents, but we want to do better than our parents. If you know better, you do better. But it does come down to the communication and talking through a lot of this. Yeah, you have things that a lot of people might not have. And, you know, talking about the lady in the email, she said that her and her husband grew up a certain way. Tell a lot of those stories. Let your kids hear those stories and hear some of those struggles so they can understand how fortunate they are to be in the position, so they can appreciate the position there is, but never be ashamed of where you are, from the hard work that you've put in and the things
that you can provide,
that you have for your family. It's a blessing, and you should treat it as such and not be ashamed of it. Yes, it may make some people uncomfortable, but that's just the way of the world, and you got to deal with that. And you don't really want to be around those type of people that are uncomfortable, but I understand you do want your kids to understand, and it's easier said than done. Younger kids, they may not get it. They may think that they should get everything all the time, but as they grow, and like I said, tell some of those stories of growing up in the hood and all this different type of stuff, and just let your kids know that they should be thankful and they should be appreciative of where they're at.
Right. And they can receive, they can get all the toys and all that kind of stuff, but you also, should be teaching your kids to pay it forward and to be a servant and to give on top. When you have a lot and things in abundance, I believe that you should share, not with everybody, but with others, and try to make an impact where you can. And so you get a bunch of toys, right? But you also give your toys, or you give, as you get older, you just learn how to give and to, you just learn how to give and to take care of others. If you hoard all that shit to yourself and just accumulate more, that's when that is, I think it can backfire, right? But you have to teach them to give and go out in the, community and do all that kind of stuff. So I think that's valuable too.
Right. Having things does not give you the excuse to be an asshole or a bad person, right? Just because you have stuff, that doesn't make you better. That it doesn't make you anything, right? You just have stuff.
Right.
So it's all about being a good human.
Right.
And when it comes to teaching these kids what it should be and what it should not be.
Right. And again, there's nothing wrong, because that's a huge societal thing. You're spoiled, you're blah, blah, blah. And it's like, so fucking what?
Or
why do you give a fuck?
The flip side, as far as society, so you're not cool or you're not in the crowd if you don't have anything, right? Everybody talks about getting to the bag. They show all this stuff on social media, cars and clothes and name brands and all this kind of stuff. And if you don't have that, you shouldn't feel a certain way. So that's another teaching point as well. Yeah, you kids may have some of this stuff, or you might not even like it, but that doesn't make you a better person. That shouldn't be the only thing that your focus
worth
on.
Shouldn't be in that.
There you go. I was thinking of it. Couldn't find it. Couldn't.
All of these things that we have do not define who we are.
There you go.
And, as far as kids, I think it's really wrong to go around and tell kids, you're a spoiled brat. You're spoiled. That fucks with their... I will never forget when I called Carmen a spoiled brat, and she cried because she's like, I really don't... And she's not a spoiled brat, but in the moment, I told her she's a spoiled brat. And why? Why do you need to tell your kids that and possibly give them a complex or make them feel weird about what they have, right? But again, I think being a spoiled brat is also like a mindset thing. Just don't. Right. Teach them.
Don't do it.
Right. Just teach them different ways. That's it.
I had a lady one time tell me, and it was the lady that actually used to do my mom's hair. It was my mom's hairdresser. And this woman ain't never had no kids. This woman ain't never been married. And I remember one time she was at one family function, and I remember my kids, and she was like, you spoil. Mind you, this woman has never spent time around my kids like that. And she goes, I can just tell you spoil those kids. And I look at her and I go, number one, you don't even have any fucking kids to even know what it's like to spoil kids. For you to even make a comment about my kids and our life, you know what I'm saying? And like, that was the one thing that used to always like piss me off, especially like outsiders or people that didn't have kids try to tell other people with kids, oh, well, you parent like this, or this is how you should parent. And I'm like, hold on, motherfucker. You haven't squirted any fucking kids out, so I suggest you shut the fuck up. Oh my God,
not squirted.
They just drives me fucking crazy. And then the other thing is, well, what about, because she says that, you know, they live in an affluent neighborhood, they live in an affluent area, and, you know, their surroundings and their environment that they're around and probably going to school with kids that have money and live in a really nice area with just nice cars. And so they see it as, well, this is the standard, right? I don't know any different, right? So they develop that sense of entitlement because this is what they know. Like, how do you navigate through that?
Like Marcus said, I think it's by keeping it real with your kids, especially if you didn't grow up like that. I always talk to when I was younger, I didn't have this, I didn't do, and that's so fucking annoying when parents
sound like the old head. You're the old head.
Back in my day,
right? But it's like
I had to walk 30 miles to school and all this.
Right? I didn't have a car. I didn't get this. I didn't do that. Blah blah blah. And so I think sharing, I don't know if it will resonate with them when they are younger, because remember, they're kids and their perception is absolutely their reality. But when they get older, I think that might resonate. And again, when you kind of instill that you have a lot and you need to make sure that you give and be a good human to other people, I don't know. That's a hard one, but
right. I think, just like you said, you plant those seeds, you tell those stories, you do all that kind of stuff. But like my dad used to tell me, just keep on living, right? And you will see and you will understand how some of this stuff starts to come to light, right? Carmen now, is driving and she has to buy her own gas and do all this stuff. So she's starting to understand the worth of $1 and all this other stuff because she has to buy gas and her allowance is gone and all this kind of stuff. Right. She has to keep asking for money. So it's those opportunities, and then a light bulb will start going off. Okay, yeah, I know mom said this and I might not have been listening really, but now, okay, I'm going through my own experience. So it's starting to come true now. And now I understand. Now I may not be so well spoiled or whatever, or I'll have a more understanding of what mom and dad go through. Right.
But like I said, every kid is different. We have all of these kids, but they're all different. And Carmen is just different. She is very humble. She asked me, could she get a job because she feels so bad that we pay for her gas and stuff like that. Right. But these other ones, I don't think they're going to be the same.
I got a couple texts right now.
I don't think they're going to be the same. I think
clothing
they're going to
list of what they want.
Right.
Kenny.
I feel like Kenny's the one. I feel like Kenny's the one.
I need that list before it gets too late. I got to order these clothes. I got to do this. I'm like,
and
damn.
It's not by way of us not trying to teach them these things. She just is who she is.
Jess,
and we can't.
But Jess, Kenny's your mini.
What we going to do? I know. I'm the same way.
Kenny is your mini.
100%.
Exactly.
She is. We're the same person.
Yeah.
So I have my list of stuff that I want to.
Right. Yeah. I know.
I feel bad for poor Carmen, though. I feel like you guys did her kind of wrong because you guys got her first car and she got to use the blue nozzle.
What does that mean?
She got to fill up with Supreme gas in her car. She can't. She can't use regular gas.
I wonder, does she use Supreme gas? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. And our other daughter, Kamora's like, she understands already that she needs a good job. She's like, I need to make money. She's like, I want to make money because I want to buy things. And this, okay, you know? So I just think it's just unique. And Kenny is probably going to be working for her dad.
The information age, though. The kids are seeing all this stuff. They understand a lot better than we did, I think, just of everything that's going on and how the world is and what it takes. Right?
I wasn't like, ooh, I need a job. Nope.
Yeah, nah. I wasn't either. I wasn't like that either. Yeah, no, I wasn't. I wanted my own
broke.
Stuff. Oh, yeah. I was hella broke. But
so was I.
I had some good jobs and I was locked in. I was about my jobs. I was the best dishwasher Old Country Buffet has ever had. It says my manager. I didn't say that.
Blah, blah.
But that's what I'm saying, though. Just the understanding and just what's available, and what's out there. I really wasn't thinking that big as a kid. Now the kids see stuff they wanted, and there's so much information out there. It's a little bit different.
Right. They want, I will never forget that. She was like, oh, I need a good job because I want to be able, she said, I want my own money.
Right.
And I want to be able to buy stuff.
Good for her.
So.
Yeah, like, I just remember being so broke and so doggone poor that, like, when I was able to finally be able to legally get a job, I was like, man, fuck this. I got to do everything in my goddamn power. And what was funny was, like, with my kids, like, I drove my son to the house I grew up in on Othello in the South End, in South Seattle. And I was like, son, I'm like, that's the house I grew up in. I'm like, all through middle school, high school, like, right there, like, that's the house. And he looks at me, he goes, no, you didn't live there.
You
like,
lying.
He's like, you're not serious. I was like, yeah, like that front window, that was grandma's bedroom. And he's just like, are you serious? I was like, yeah, man, like this was it. I was like, and that house next door right here burnt down twice because it was a really bad drug house. And this house across the street, that was another drug house. And he goes,
those are the stories, though.
And, you know,
those are the stories I'm talking about, kid.
Oh yeah, like it's scared the shit out of him, but at the same time, like, I don't think, because he's still young. I mean, he's 8 now, so like I don't. And I did that when he was like 6, and the reason why is because the thing about my son, for his age, he's very emotionally mature. So like I can have certain conversations with him, and like he gets it. And so, like, that's why when I showed him the house, he was just looked at me. He's like, no, Dad. Like, absolutely not. You didn't know. Grandma didn't live there.
You couldn't have.
Grandma would not have let you live there. And I'm like, oh, yes, Grandma did. And the reason why, blame Grandpa. But
don't do that.
I know, right? But
shut him up.
I know, right? Shut him up. Right. I know, right? But yeah, I agree with you guys. I think too, because this lady said in this email that her oldest is still young. I want her kid can probably be like my kid's age. I think you're right. Like, I think it just comes with time and with the maturity, and it just clicks. Like, for instance, like Kimora just saying, boom, understanding the power of $1 and like, okay,
yes,
I know this is what I need to do. And I just think every kid, they just have it takes time, but they'll have their moment when it just clicks and it's like, oh shit, like, I don't have any more money. I have to get a job. I have to figure it out,
Right.
But, yeah.
And hopefully it clicks. But another thing that I just thought about, and, the mom saying that they live in an affluent neighborhood. I think another thing with our kids is they have friends from all different socioeconomic backgrounds. And so I think it puts stuff into perspective when you go to other people's house and you get to see, everybody doesn't have a large house. Everybody doesn't have a bunch of cars. It does look like a used car lot in our driveway. Anyways, everybody doesn't have a bunch of cars. Everybody doesn't have the means. And so I think that is another way too. I mean, if you grow up in an affluent neighborhood and you're only around other rich people, naturally, I think it would be maybe a little bit harder for you to understand, what it means to not be entitled and to be humble. But I think when you grow up with a diverse background and a diverse set of friends and people you associate with, I think you learn.
Right. And you know what? I really can appreciate this mom coming forward and asking these questions, because to be honest, I think it really starts with the parents and how they act and how they treat people and the type of conversations they have.
Right. We're pretty fucking hood, actually.
The stuff they have and what they're doing, right? If they're going to be all snobby and think they're better than people and all this kind of stuff, it's going to trickle down to the children. So it really starts with the parents.
Parents
so
are the first
mom
teachers.
That is asking this question is doing an excellent job. She's off to a good start. Says me, because I matter to her for what exactly she's doing with her family.
Right. Because you're a mother too.
Yes.
That's so funny.
I think it is.
No, that's wild. Yeah, like I have a friend here, a good buddy of mine. His daughter's in high school, and they had moved here to Vegas from California. And you know where we live in a very affluent area, a very affluent zip code or whatever. And she's actually our babysitter. And like I talked to her because she finally got like her first job. And she's like, yeah, I'm going to get my first car. And da-da-da. I'm like, okay. I was like, well, what do you want? You know what this girl said? This girl, you guys, looked me dead in the eye and said, oh, I'm getting a G-Wagon. I must have fell out.
Wow.
I was like, really? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, that's the goal is I'm going to get a G. I'm like, you work at the bagel place. Okay, you work at the bagel place.
There's nothing wrong with having
what y'all paying her to babysit? Damn,
something to work
it's
for.
going down.
Hey, hell, how good we pay her, she might be able to actually fucking buy that G-Wagon. Okay, but look, I was like, girl, you work at the bagel place next to Panda Express. What make you think for your first car you're gonna get a G-Wagon? Now, I love the aspiration,
the high hopes.
That's great, but that ain't reality, you know. And like, she has those moments. And like, I talked to her dad. I was like, you know what your daughter told me? He goes, well, man. He goes, you got to remember, man. He goes, the kids that she's hanging around with, the dad owns 15 gas stations and like 20 Subways, and this other girl she hang out with, the daddy is a diamond importer or some crazy shit. So these people have like fuck you money, you know? Mm-hmm. And so it's given her this kind of like warped idea of like reality. And so like, I think that's like the biggest fear of like, when you get past of, you know, teaching your kids the good values and understanding what's right, what's wrong. It's then like having to make sure they don't have this warped idea of reality because of they see that their friends have this or their friends' parents are able to provide their friends with this. So they just naturally think, well, my friends, I hang out with them. We live in this neighborhood, but my parents aren't millionaires, but we live in the same neighborhood as them. Why shouldn't I be able to get a G-Wagon, right? Why shouldn't I be able to have a GT AMG? You know, so it's like, how do you help with the warped reality? Is that when you go and you have your kids like Thanksgiving work in a soup kitchen? Like, what do you do to fight that?
Honestly, I don't even know if, you know, some people don't, you know, you can work in a soup kitchen and do all that kind of stuff, but I still think that sometimes it doesn't quite register, right? They know that they're doing a good thing and they're giving back, but that doesn't apply to my life. I still want the G-Wagon and all that kind of stuff. So, again, you're in this affluent neighborhood and maybe your parents don't have as much money as the other kids. But as far as bringing it back to us, we don't hang out in those social circles with a bunch of rich people. So I think that, I don't know, just find some friends. Find some friends that are not, no, that's not what you do.
I was about to say, I was like, this has been like this girl's friends since like middle school. Like these are just, you know what I'm saying? Like she can't help. She can't help and her friends can't help. what her parents do for a living.
Right.
You
Right.
know?
I think it's big picture too. You got to look at everything. They may have a G-Wagon, but they only got 2 kids, or they may be doing this. So it's not.
They got more money. Just
I
be
know.
real.
Yeah.
They have more money than
Yes,
us.
that too, and it's
G-Wagon
okay.
is not in your fucking
But
future.
I think it's okay for that young lady, Kel, like you said. That's her goal, right? And she's just getting started, and she really doesn't have everything together. So maybe it's like a process, and she'll get a reality check, or once she looks at her paycheck, and then she goes to look at the G-Wagon to see how much that costs, right? But to have that goal and be like, okay, first I'm gonna start with this car, but I'm gonna work my way up, and it's gonna be my motivation. And it's not about the other people and what they got. I get it now. I gotta go out. I gotta go and do my thing, and I gotta get it together before I can get there, right? So it's a process.
Right. But like you said, it's a different time, because social media blows this shit out of the water.
Right. But
all you see is stuff
that's
you
not
can't
reality.
have.
That's not
but
reality.
But for a kid,
I know
they
gotta
don't get it.
Just keep living, and you got to figure it out, though. You got to figure out the reality from the BS.
Sometimes I think it's a little bit harder now to figure out
especially
the reality,
if you grew
to
up
decipher
on
through
social media and you wasn't here
right
during the time when there was no social media.
Right.
That can be tough.
The glamorous
Very
life
true.
seems like it's just one touch away, and it's like, let me just bring you back down.
It is actually one TikTok or
it is
dance or two away, and you blow up and go viral.
You're right.
You might be able to get you a couple G-Wagons if you go crazy on social.
Funny thing, our daughter's video went viral on TikTok.
It did.
And Uggs commented on her profile. And I was like, if you don't send them a message and ask them to send you a pair of Uggs and you would wear them in another TikTok. So it's stuff like that. It's
young
like
ambassadors.
Right. Young ambassadors that are making hella money.
Yeah.
I'm like, Carmen, you better do another TikTok. You better get that shit going.
Well, yeah, I think too the influence of social media, even if you were to tell your kids and they know like, oh, well, I know this isn't real, I know this isn't fake. It's just the visual part. It's just what they see and just registering those images and those photos. It just goes into that mental bank where you subconsciously, like, it's a thing, you know, like. I feel just so bad for these kids because they just have so much to keep up with, and this internet stuff and the social media stuff.
They don't know anything different,
though.
There's so much and they don't know anything different. So
and process, and it's crazy. Social media.
It's a different world. I was just talking to somebody about it.
Yeah, but it's not making our jobs as parents any easier. Like, it's not making parenting any easier.
Up to us to adjust, though.
As
parenting,
harder.
I think it's made it a lot harder.
It has,
you have to talk to your kids about way more shit.
Just
shit that
like
you didn't think you had to talk to them about.
Right.
Our parents and their parents, they went through like civil rights stuff, and you got to have these conversations with your kids, even though they are still doing it. I mean, in some communities, but I'm just saying, like, the differences in time and stuff is different stuff you got to deal with, and you just got to adjust. That's just the way of the world,
right? But it's like overload. It's like fucking.
That's the point.
Sensory, like it's just overload. It's
addicting,
just, like that.
Dopamine,
just like that,
right?
Yeah.
So,
I'm a scientist,
so to close out, what do you guys want to close out with the best piece of advice you can give this woman with, you know, letting her kids, you know what I guess the real is, and the real and the bullshit from the bullshit, excuse me.
Well, starting off with, they're not spoiled. They are, you know, recognizing that you are privileged. You can say that, right? You are privileged. I mean, let's not fucking sugarcoat it. It is what it is. You are privileged, but you also are grounded. Like both. You're privileged and you're grounded. Not in that way, but you're grounded. And just what we were saying, just teach them with all that you have. Make sure to give to other people, because everybody is not as fortunate as you. And just like in a real way, you know, people are like, kids in Africa are starving and shit like that. No. Really break it down about how everything works. And I think that it will resonate with them as they get older.
I agree. I second that. Just break it down for the kids. Let them know, for one, never be ashamed of what you have. Never feel uncomfortable. And this is what's coming from the parents, right? But you do want to make sure that you treat everybody, everybody with respect that deserves that respect. And just because you have stuff, that doesn't make you better than people. It's not about what you have. It's about being a good person. And just doing things the right way. There's a wrong way and a right way to go about being a family that's been blessed. Right. I believe so.
Right. But that was spot on what you said. You're not better than anybody else. We are all human beings. We all go through the same struggles, the same ups and downs, no matter how rich you are. We are all connected. Don't walk around this earth acting like you are better than other people.
Because you don't want to get humbled by life. I feel like when you do that and you act like that, it eventually is going to catch up with you.
Right. And you don't want to be, alienated because you're an asshole. So, yeah.
Right. And if all else fails, just go drop them off in the hood and say, hey, kid, is this what you want?
Here,
don't take that shit for granted.
I think that was an episode of the Dave Chappelle. I mean, the trading spouses when he dropped off little Timmy down in the hood and drove off.
Yep. He's like, you need to make money? I heard they sell rocks around here. I remember when I had to take my son to the kids ER out here, and I realized there was a nice one near our house, but I had to go to the one in the hood. And so I drive over there, and he's just looking out the window like, Dad, what is this? I said, oh, son. I'm like, this is the ghetto. I was like, you didn't know? He's like, oh my God, kind of like where you grew up at. I was like, it's a little worse because this is the Southwest. And there was a lady pushing a baby in a stroller at a bus stop. And it was like a homeless lady. And like the image of that was like burned into my son's head for like, I shit you not, you guys, like almost a year. He would just bring it up randomly, be like, hey, Dad, remember that time we went to the hospital and we saw that lady pushing that baby? And I was like, oh yeah. I'm like, this fucking got him. I was like, right. He ain't forget that.
We got one.
Right. So, there's some images that.
So anytime we talk about the struggle, he always brings up the lady with the baby in the stroller. So traumatize your kids a little bit. And maybe
damn, just a little bit. Just enough.
Not. Don't traumatize them. Like I said, expose them to everything. Right. So they're not walking around like, oh,
Talk about it, expose them, do all that. Yeah.
Right.
Don't traumatize them till they, to the point that they need therapy.
I'm like, don't drop them off in the hood, but
you can drive through during the day with the windows rolled up. Fine. But good episode, you guys. Good advice.
Yeah.
Truly Unruly with Marcus and Jessica Trufant. My name is Scal. You can listen to us on your favorite podcasting platform. And remember, please like, review, and subscribe. That helps us out a lot. You can catch the visual on YouTube. And if you want to follow the Truly Unruly page on social media, follow us on Instagram and all things social at trulyunruly_podcast. And of course, follow these guys, Marcus_Trufant and Jessica_Trufant, and catch us every Sunday on Converge. Boom. All right, y'all. I think that's everything.
That's it.
Word. Till next time, peace and much love.